welcome to the Homes Mine, our brand which covers online, print and TV. I do hope you've done all your spring cleaning, because now it's time to make space for some summer interiors. Well, retro is still in, and I'll be looking at design through the decades, checking out the latest technology with clip-on and off lighting. We'll learn some of the secrets behind trend forecasting, and the lovely Anna Ryder Richardson rustles up some sumptuous room sets. But first up, we've got something for all your beautiful bottoms. I'm talking sofas, of course, and high-end ones. Now, they are expensive, but then again, they are a bit gorgeous. And so here we are at Interiors Birmingham 2009. More new trends, more new products, more new ideas. So let's go and see what's on offer. Well, I'm here in Hall 1, which is full of high-end classic design. Let's have a look at what the international and British companies think is going to float your boat this season. Well, this one definitely isn't for the faint-hearted. It's called Manhattan, it's big, it's bold, and I think it's fab. Now, I'd like you to meet Antonia. She's beautiful, she's like a big piece of cake. Now, the colours in this one are just gorgeous. It's called the Grand Waldorf, and I've sunk into it. I feel like I'm about 6. So, Luigi, when somebody buys a high-end, expensive sofa, what are they looking for? What are their primary objectives, do you think?
Well, I think that what they are looking for is, of course, something which is going to be different in terms of design, shapes, color choice, materials, comfort, and the combination of all these elements should be very, very, let's say, well coordinated to make sure the furniture is going to look attractive and kind of, it can justify a price which is going to be, let's say, higher compared to what usually the marketplace is showing nowadays.
They are an investment, aren't they? Because some of these sofas are really quite expensive.
It is a serious investment because, first of all, you need to invest in designing the merchandise, then to do the prototypes, then to make sure it's going to be right and comfortable and choose the right color combination, the right letters. So of course behind every single piece of furniture there is a lot of investment to make sure it's going to look right for our customers.
Well, thank you for taking the time out to have a chat with us.
You're welcome, thanks for your time.
So plenty of big bold sofas there for summer '09. Well, the retro look is certainly in, and I've seen plenty of vintage type reinterpretations here at the show. It seems good design never goes out of fashion. So Richard, this stand, Design Britain, represents what, the very best in British design, or just a good cross-section, do you think?
There's a very good cross-section, but the selection of designers here is exemplary, really. They are the creme de la creme, and they really do represent how creative furniture designers, textile designers have been from the 20s and 30s onwards, and it's been relentless, really.
What do you think it is about the British which makes us such good designers? Because we are known for being very quirky and coming up with these brilliant ideas.
I think we've always been very innovative, and I think we've always enjoyed materials and materiality, and we've enjoyed experimenting, and hence the birth of the Industrial Revolution in the Midlands. And I think it's been driven by not only wanting to be visual, but actually wanting to really develop an understanding of the materials and how you can actually make them visually exciting.
And do you think that is true even now with sort of students? Are students now as creative as they've always been? Because you used to see students.
Well, I think they're still in the British system of art and design education, the notion of learning through doing, which I would say perhaps lacking in other art and design delivery. But and that enables people to explore the material and come up with, almost based on our tradition in arts and crafts, an approach which actually relies on that sort of connection between hand and brain.
So you think people have just got to get on, have a go, do it, and what might happen?
I think they have to be reflective, and that's what a designer, that makes the difference between someone who's just experimenting with stuff, someone who can actually stand away from it take a bit of bees and solitude, and let the chemistry work, and then come back to it, having thrown away the things that they feel may not be important, and really going for the stuff that's been locked in the brain.
It's amazing, isn't it, when you look at some of the pieces, how they sort of almost transcend the time, don't they? You look at something that could have been designed in the 1920s and could have been designed 5 years ago.
Yeah. But I think that goes back to the use of materials. And for example, this Pell table here, I was surprised myself when I saw it was a Pell designed between the wars. And I think if someone was tackling the same problem today, how to turn a length of tube into something which actually supports a plate of glass, that would probably be the most intelligent and the most visually dynamic solution you'd come up with. So it's actually, tackling that challenge all the time.
Well, thank you for having a chat with us, Richard. Now, I don't know about you, but I am very easily bored, and the tough thing about interiors is you can't easily change your choices once you've made them, or can you? What about one of these? Look at that! And here's the designer. Sarah, how did you come up with this idea?
Well, basically, like you've just said, in homes all across the UK, people are moving in and the halogen downlighters are rife. They're very, very difficult to change, very expensive to change. And so we came up with this idea to use the magnet. It's very, very simple, very easy to use, very user-friendly, and it's taken the light show by storm. Done really, really well.
Taking it by storm, what sort of reaction, what sort of comments are you getting?
Well, the customers are loving them. They like the designs anyway, and once they know that they're actually magnetic, they love it even more. We've also won 2 awards, Lighting Design Award of the Year, and also Best Innovation as well.
That's completely revolutionary. I've never seen a product which transforms a halogen light, and you can't, it's a lot of hassle, isn't it, really, now, with the rules and regulations to take them out and change
Well, it's
them.
hassle and expense. You have to replaster, you have to rewire, so this just makes it all really simple.
And I guess at the minute it's perfect because they're cost effective as well.
They are. In the climate at the moment, they're absolutely perfect because there is no cost involved. They're also brilliant because you can use it as an instant makeover. If you're having a dinner party one evening, you can just pop them up, and then for breakfast the next day, just take them down.
Do you know, I hadn't thought of that, actually, yeah? You just transform the room for an evening.
Absolutely,
and
it's low cost and no fuss.
Well, they're great. Congratulations, what a fab invention.
Thank you.
Those were such ingenious lights. I absolutely loved them. Now, of course, new trends often start with young designers, so let's have a look and see who we found at the show. So Victoria, we wander around the show and do a bit of trend spotting, but this is something you do full time and specialise in. Talk me through what you do.
That's right, trend forecasting is really important for informing what's happening as consumers are changing wants, needs and desires, our values, the atmosphere generally that's happening in society. And all of the things that are happening globally in the world actually feed into inspiring designers and changing the way that we want to live as consumers.
So who employs you as a company to sort of tell them what's going on?
It's manufacturers in the main. They want to know what's happening next, of course. The more that we're seeing products being made overseas and shipped here, the longer the critical path that they're having to work with. So they need to know in advance to a much greater degree. They're also working with retailers, lots of different companies, interior designers and designers who want to know what's happening with the attitudes of people, what are those global events that are going to have an effect on us.
So when somebody looks at a chair in a shop or a sofa or whatever, a cup, there's a whole process that's gone on before that, is there?
Absolutely. All sorts of things like the major exhibitions that have been happening at art galleries, at museums, political events, environmental issues, the economic downturn that we're seeing at the moment. They are all of the indicators and the influences that come through. And yes, eventually it filters through to furniture and the shape of furniture, the colours that we want to be living with, all of those sorts of aspects.
And what sort of thing do you see? What sort of things do you see coming through for 2010 and onwards?
We're seeing a greater degree of curvaceousness, certainly, as women become stronger and their role changes in the world. We're seeing lots of faceted products that slot together as we need to slot together within our communities. A greater degree of interactivity is very important, that we, as the user of the product, wants to engage, that we want products that enable and actually facilitate the way that we live. So, much greater degrees of interactivity, certainly.
Do you think these are deliberate decisions as well, or is there also a bit of sort of zeitgeist where things just happen? Do you think it's all very considered, or?
I think to the main, there's lots of it that's considered. But I think that the designers who are right at the top there, who are doing their own thing, who are just being inspired by the things that are around them, and they're really just focused on self to some degree, and doing the sort of work that satisfies them and pleases them, that affects the trends because it's really exciting work and it filters down through the market. But generally speaking, they're doing their own thing and they're not thinking about these sorts of issues. It's not so considered.
So it does work both ways?
Absolutely, but those things have an effect on the trends as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you for chatting with us, Victoria.
My pleasure.
Mind the doom and gloom in the media. What we need is something to put a smile on our face, something fun and innovative, like the furniture this lot make. So Chris, why are Cabinet Maker magazine holding a competition?
Cabinet Maker is a leading trade magazine for the interiors marketplace, and over the last 100 years or so has had a tremendous input into young designer careers, as well as actually starting young designers off in the manufacturing industry. By getting involved with this awards, these young designers then have the ability to move their career forwards and basically through taking internships and developing a network of contacts through the Interiors Birmingham exhibition.
Now Amy, I know a little bit about the Young Designer 2009 and you've won one of the categories.
Yes, soft furnishings.
For these fantastic
stools.
Yeah. What brought about the idea?
Well, I work from catchphrases and jokes and sayings, and I'd already done the Park Your Bum chair, which was a concrete chair with a parking sign, and Box of Frogs with splats and carved outside. And then I was working on It Takes All Sorts and trying to think of how I could turn that into furniture. And then it came to me and it was just so obvious, but it hadn't been done, so I thought, well, it needs to be done, definitely.
Were you surprised that something which is such a fantastic thing to translate into furniture, isn't it, the blocks of the licorice also, but it hadn't been done?
No, and I'm still surprised now, but no, it hasn't been done, and Bassett's themselves aren't aware of anybody doing it, so it's great.
So how's it been received? It's a very fun and playful product, isn't
It's
it?
been received really well. I think the bright colours grab lots of attention, and everyone smiles when they see it, which is my main aim of making any piece of furniture. People need to smile. So,
do you think it's the perfect timing now? Because everybody's a little bit down in the dumps in the world, aren't they? Do you think your furniture's bringing that ray of light and sunshine back?
I hope so. Yeah, that's kind of the aim, really. It's nice to see people walking past and, you know, slouching along, and all of a sudden they brighten up a little bit. So that's good. It's nice.
Well, I wish you the very best,
Thank
and
you.
maybe get some commissioned by Bassett's.
Hope so. That would be brilliant.
Thanks,
Thank
Amy.
you.
And of course, once you have your key pieces, it's all about successfully pulling them together. Now, Anna Ryder Richardson recently gave a style demo in Manchester, so let's get inspired.
I love designing, and I think we've all got it inside of us. And very often I hear people say, oh, you know, I wish I could do that, wish I could do that. And you start talking to them about what they like, and before you know it, they're saying what they like. They just sometimes need someone to hold their hand and to guide them through constructing the concept for their room. And that's what we're going to try and do with you today. Mood boards is somewhere that all designers would start, and it's a great place to begin, and it's a really fun thing to do because it really just sets the mood of the room that you're trying to create. I've been in interiors for, I don't even want to think how long, but certainly in television for over 10 years. And I think it's very interesting actually because it changes not as constantly as fashion does, but it certainly has a cycle. And I think you can always see some elements of a past design, whether it be retro or classical, mixed in with some very contemporary design as well. And I think that's probably what I've noticed more than anything, is it's less stuffy, it's more approachable by everybody, and it's more eclectic, it's more of a mixture as well. You just can't fault having proper curtains, I think, made. It is an absolute investment and it will just set off your room. These have been made with lining and interlining, so they're sumptuous. I mean, again, it's like a massive ball gown. You want to wrap it around you and wear it. Gorgeous fabric, lovely heading at the top as well. Dippy heading. Which is lovely, and it'll probably puddle on the floor a bit as well. I've never heard of that. So I've obviously been sitting in the country stroking my animals for too long, haven't I? Never heard of a dippy heading. And are we going to have a tie back on there? Oh, look at that lovely side table there as well. Really delicate, almost looks like it's floating actually, doesn't it? Here comes the lovely big tie back. Ooh, and a great big tassel as well. Wallpaper is gorgeous. As I said, it's really making a comeback. There are so many beautiful designs out there that, you know, you can put them on all walls or just use it as a feature wall. I think it's important to stress that you do spend a bit of money on quality furniture because you want it to last. And it's important to spend a bit of time thinking about it as well. While you're planning your mood board, make sure you measure your room properly because it's all very well getting carried away with looks. You want to make sure that it'll fit in the room and it'll work for you as well. And look at that, beautiful. And that's just worked really well. The last one was quite casually hung, and this one is very neat at the bottom, but the pleats are just exceptional. If it had just been the plain fabric in the middle, lovely, but the pleats just add another dimension to it as well. Look at the print that's going up in the middle just to set it all off, which looks like a painting that I did not. That is lovely, really lovely. We've got the dippy hem going on the other side. I think those curtains are gorgeous. Oh, look at that, just crumbing out with a little hand. Probably the most delicate candlestick I've ever seen. See how you can actually have quite a cluttered surface, but it works really, really well. And you get those great reflections in there as well. It's just playing around with things, really, and having the confidence. You can all do it. Look at you, you're all beautifully dressed. It's the same thing. all going on behind my back. This leather chair would work really well in there and has lots of sort of elements taking back from Spain, but then this much more contemporary chair and stool I think works very well for a man as well, or it would work quite nicely in the lounge. But remember, this is for our artist Antonio. So we've changed the curtain poles as well. That just happened as if by magic. We've got brass. Now the bedding, again, you know, it's not too masculine, and you've just got this grey, but then it just softens it and makes it more delicate, the design on it as well, which has got a little bit of that acid yellowy wasabi colour, and that is our accent colour in here, definitely. That is what's lifting it and stopping it being flat and bland and boring. And we've also got a little bit of cream going on in there as well. So a bit of drama on the headboard. Also brings that Spanish feel into it, that European. So I think basket wear is very important. Then a little bit of drama in the carpet I can see, which isn't coming out quite yet. Puddling curtains on the floor, set off with the antique brass pole. So where on earth are we going to stick that painting? Oh, there, of course. I like a big headboard like that, though. It really sets it off, doesn't it? And turns into a really big focal point, and completely changes a rather bland bed as well. And you could always change that too, couldn't you? After a few years, go, oh, I'm bored of that now. Recover it. Oh, and I didn't see the wallpaper. Look, I'm hiding here behind there. There's a lovely wallpaper there which picks out the colours, and that's not the acidy yellow, it's a sort of bronzy gold in the leaf as well, which is really nice. And you definitely would just have one more, but it sets off the leather and that gorgeous lamp as well, with a big thick base as well. Beautiful. Very elegant, very sophisticated. Way too good, really, for Antonio. So another huge success, I would say, that one.
That's it for this week. I hope you've been suitably summer interior inspired. Remember, you can watch us again at channelm.co.uk/homesmine, and I'll see you next time.